Good evening and welcome to Face to Face. I'm Niresh Aliyatambi. If jumping from one political party to another were an Olympic sport, Sri Lanka would have won many goals by now in Paris. Unfortunately, it's not an Olympic sport, but we see it happening in an amazing fashion down here in Colombo. And to discuss this and many other matters with regard to the presidential election that's coming up, we have with us Mr. Maithri Gunaratne, President's Counsel and former governor of 2 provinces in Sri Lanka. So, Maithri, welcome to the program.
Thank you for inviting me once again, Niresh.
And,
interesting times.
It is indeed an interesting time, and every day throws up more and more surprises. But should we be surprised at what's going on in our political situation? We have people jumping from one party to another in such rapid fashion that we really can't keep up, can we?
Definitely.
So what's the latest political situation? We have people deserting the SLPP, the SLFP is in a split situation, the UNP seems to be accepting various people, and there are forever rumors of SJB people defecting, although that doesn't seem to happen as often as we are told it would. So what's the situation with these parties?
Niresh, it is day by day things are getting more and more confused, and I mean, it's actually mind-boggling to see what is happening in Sri Lanka, because on one side the voters are still not sure as to whom they are going to vote for, but the political parties, take the UNP, you take the SJB, and to a lesser extent the JVP, they are inviting various people from various parties to come and join them. So I feel for a moment they think that the voters are mutts, absolute mutts. So I'm wondering whether they are right. I'm wondering whether this is the right approach or whether they are right, because if you know, Niresh, after the Aragalaya, they said we don't want the entire 225.
That's right.
That's the starting point. That's the starting point. So if the general public, who are going to be the main voters at this election, are going to get impressed by these jumping jacks up and down, and if they are going to vote for them, then God help this country. I don't know whether God even will be able to help it, because these are the very people we have said we don't want. These are the very people we have said we don't want. So now it's a case of getting more and more people who have been in Parliament, whatever the side they are, whatever they have done, whatever their track record is irrelevant. They just only want to show the general public that okay, so many members of Parliament are with us. So are these members of Parliament bringing in people? Do they have support? It is immaterial for the party leaders. So they are now only trying to project themselves to show that they have got so many people coming in.
But will this approach work, Maithri?
That is a thing, Niresh. I mean, I find it very difficult to answer, because our vote, why we are in this position today, bankrupt position, in a state of desperation, is because our voter has time and time again voted for the wrong people and elected the wrong people. So I mean, I hope I am wrong. I feel if they do it for the next time, this time also, then where are we going? Where are we heading? I mean, it is going to be a disastrous result. So I mean, today, today I heard 18 members have given their deposits to contest the presidential election. 18. So how are we going to choose the correct person? How is it going to happen? Is it only related to these three main political parties? Because now today, Dinesh, I am told the campaign is going to cost something like 7 to 10 billion rupees. Billion, B.
That's for each political party.
Each political party. It can vary.
So where does this money come from?
Money comes from businessmen who have got favors, businessmen who are anticipating favors. So where is the sovereignty of the country or the people? Where are they going to win? There is no victory for the people. Again, with these horse dealings, with this jumping up and down. I mean, one may ask, why are they, one reason they are jumping is to see whether they can secure their seat in parliament again. One. Those who cannot secure their seat in parliament again, that they are going for money. So if they can get, we'll say, a good handout for crossing over, I mean, that can be their retirement pension or retirement benefit. So these are the factors which are now being taken into consideration for all these changes to happen in such a short time.
So these are all selfish factors. There's no nationalistic, patriotic factors involved. It's all about, can I survive? Can I get back into office? It's not something to do with, well, the country will benefit by me going to this party or that party.
No, sadly, these are all absolutely selfish factors, and I think people like, I mean, although I have to say it myself, we have come for some noble reasons to do something good for the country, but I don't think, I mean, we matter at a stage like this, because all is driven by money. All is driven by money, and that kind of money, Niresh, is going to have more corruption. So none of these people who are saying that they are going to get rid of corruption, I want to know if their campaign costs are 7, 8, 9, 10 billion rupees, how are they going to get rid of corruption? They are definitely going to have IOUs to various people. They are definitely going to have IOUs to various people. So these monies are coming because a businessman, when he funds a political party, when he funds it, we'll say with 100 million, his expectation is to collect a billion rupees back. So if that is the case, where is the citizen of this country going to win? That is the million-dollar question.
Now, this type of money that swirls around during campaign time, it's all in cash, isn't it?
It's all in cash.
There's no paper trail.
There is no.
So you can't actually accuse any businessman of wrongdoing. You can't accuse a political party of wrongdoing, because there is no transparency, is there?
No, there absolutely no transparency. I of course feel now most of the transactions are in dollars. So this you can get the dollars coming in various forms into the country, and then it is dollars which are transacted. So most of them who collect the money also, I think, send the dollars outside. So that's how it happens, Niresh.
So it's rather strange that the Inland Revenue Department doesn't say anything about this kind of situation which goes on. In fact, the Inland Revenue is intent on broadening the tax net and is asking everyone to register and so on and so forth, file your returns and all that, but turns a blind eye to the political parties.
No, Niresh, the Inland Revenue Department, their policies kill the goose that lays the golden egg. You harass the guy who is paying taxes and get him to somehow pay more taxes. They have no policy, or they have no idea as to how they can collect more taxes from these other people. That is how the Inland Revenue works. I mean, if I pay tax, if I delay, they will charge me 50%. But there are thousands of people who don't pay tax, who are quite comfortable and quite safe. So that is one. you take the elections department. Now the elections department, elections commission has a law which is curtailing the spending at an election. Okay. Now elections department, there are some candidates who are TV barons. They are contesting. Now in those some of those channels, Nilesh, it is only them and people who are with them. So is there a free broadcast in those stations? So this kind of blatant violation, and what are they trying to come and do? They are canvassing to come and make a better country where justice is going to prevail, country where fair play is going to be the order of the day. So if that is the case, if they are using their own propaganda to further themselves, without giving equal publicity to the others, these are factors where the elections commission, without just sitting put in a room, these 5 commissioners, they should take these people to task. They are not being taken to task. So the laws are violated. Whatever the laws, Parliament can bring laws, Nilesh, but if the laws are not implemented by those people who are supposed to implement it, then it is always going to be applied in the breach. So this is what is happening. There is a campaign spending, there is a curtailment. Then candidates on TV, there are various curtailments, but none of them are being implemented. So is there a fair election then? That is the next question. Is there a fair election? Can they have a free and fair election? If some candidates are given preference and they are given a way to do their campaign the way they want, I mean, then it is not going to be a free and fair election.
But now getting back to all this jumping from one party to another, Maithri, does it work where voters are concerned? Now just say that a particular MP 5 years ago won election with 50,000 votes, and now he feels that that particular party is likely to lose, and he jumps to another party. It doesn't mean that those 50,000 voters will cross with him and vote for him again, does it? I would think that
Nilesh, what happens is this: our politics is on what you give the people. Okay, so most of these politicians, they have been up to corruption, and due to that they have also given handouts to the voters. So the voters also corrupt. And as a result of that, those corrupt voters will some of them will change alliances with this particular person going from one side to the other. There is a possibility. I am not saying everyone is going to do that, but we'll say a guy who has got, we'll say 50,000 or 60,000 votes when he was elected from party A, but subsequently he decides to now contest from party B. Because of this handout policy, giving money, giving handouts, because of that handout policy, there may be about a 30-40% movement with him. That you can't rule out. Now if you take the Rajapaksas, why the Rajapaksas became so popular and why it was so difficult to dislodge them, because they broadened the pyramid of corruption. There was corruption to a certain extent in every country, there is, but in Sri Lanka also there was. It was a narrow pyramid. What they did was, gradually they broadened the pyramid in the country. So you will say if 10% was corrupt, they spread that net to 60%. So then 60% of the people earned money through corrupt means, and their existence also is through corrupt means. So then what happens is, in order to maintain their life standards, they need to keep the Rajapaksas in power, because otherwise the whole thing crumbles.
Now, in the past, Maithri, we saw when it comes near election time, we have seen individual MPs or small groups crossing from one party to another. But what we are seeing here seems to be unprecedented in terms of numbers.
Yeah, definitely.
So it's very difficult to keep track of who is where and how strong any political party really is, as long as they are losing people or MPs are jumping to those parties. So in this situation, what happens to these parties? Aren't they significantly weakening their branding?
No, I don't think they are worried about their branding. They are worried only to come to power. And what they are trying to show is, the image they are trying to portray is that, okay, now out of this parliament I have got so many members which have come with me. Now, for instance, the UNP, Mr. Ranil Wickremesinghe, he is only one elected member from the UNP, but now he has been able to collect about 80-90 guys with the vote to all going en bloc there. So he is trying to show that, okay, I have got 80-90 guys with me, so therefore I have got more support. But whether that support that will transform into ground level support is a different issue. Whether it will. If it does not, then we can take it that our electorate has matured. But if that works, if what this political party is doing, if it works, that only goes to show that our people are as foolish as they were before.
Now, President Wickremesinghe accepting all of these members of the SLPP and whomever to support him, is this part of a longer term strategy? Is he looking at the general election and looking at the fact that at the last general election his party was wiped out and only received one seat, and that too because of the PR system?
That's right.
Is he looking at perhaps broadening this vote base by accepting people from the SLPP and any other party, and therefore hoping that or expecting that he would get many more votes for the UNP in the general election?
Nilesh, if I put it this way, now President Wickremesinghe, maybe 6 months ago, his popularity was about 3%. Today, his popularity has gone up to about 20%. So there is I mean, something which is, I mean, I feel the reason for that is this economic, where he stepped in and he took it over and he sorted, there is a feeling that he sorted the whole thing out. So what they are trying to show is now, they are trying to woo the voter who is watching this whole scenario, that, you know, now I have got, although I had only one, I was the only guy here, now I have got so many people who have come with me, right, and they are from various political parties, various colors, various sizes, so they are with me, so therefore I am the guy who has the high command. I command the highest amount, I may command the highest amount of votes and support in this country. So these are the faces they want to show the general public.
But isn't it self-defeating when you know that a particular set of MPs are actually unpopular with the public, and the public in the past has demanded that they be sent home, but then you accept them into your party? Isn't that a minus point rather than a plus point?
I would consider it a minus point. But I think the politician knows or believes that the voter can be duped and fooled to come and vote again for them. That's what they feel.
But given the bankruptcy that the country fell into, and the dire financial situation of families today, isn't it quite clear that this probably will not work?
Well, that is left for the result of an election, Nilesh. I mean, I also have been in politics for 30 years, but what we are happening now, we can't fathom as to how this is going to work, because having seen what happened during the Aragale and things like that, and the mindset of the general public, whether if this works again, then we are doomed, Niresh, as I said. It should not work. The people must get together, and can you imagine a campaign costing 7 to 10 billion rupees? Where is this money going to come from? Whose money is this? Is the voter going to benefit from this?
Well, in the end, it's the voters' money, isn't it? In some form,
some form of the money. No, it is now. It can be medicines. It can be schools. It can be roads. It can be housing. Now, if you take our health sector, if you take our education sector, you take all those sectors, Niresh, for the last 30 years there has been a massive decline. Why is there been a massive decline? Because these sectors, people have voted for successive governments. They have done deals with regard to education, health. You can remember during the COVID, what they did with the vaccines. They were making money from the vaccine. People are dying. They were making money from the vaccine. So this is the sum total of electing the wrong people. Ultimately, our standards go down. The taxpayer, the guy who conscientiously works in this country, does an honest job of work. We are continuously working to keep some unproductive fellow in power and in business.
Interesting thoughts indeed. But I would think, Maithri, that when you accept MPs into your party who are clearly unpopular, then you are actually pushing the voters to leave your party and go to the opposition or an opposing party more than anything else.
But I don't know whether that happens, Niresh. I don't know whether now for instance, now in the next few days there are so many more party crossovers which are going to take place, or people going and giving their support to other political parties. So we will be able to see then, because now what is happening is, now we'll say party A, I don't want to mention it by name, party A has certain amount of people at ground level. Now when people from party B join party A, then what is going to happen is the guys in party A are going to lose their electorates. They have to share their electorates, they have to share their votes. So that kind of thing will propel them to sometimes defect. That kind of thing will propel them to defect. So those are matters which we will have to see. And the issue is, Niresh, none of these political parties, maybe to a certain extent the JVP or the NPP was able to cultivate and get new people to come into the fray. But the main two political parties, will say the SLFP, SLPP, UNP, SJB, all these people, they are banking on the old guard, the old system. So it's the same wine in different bottles. In fairness to the NPP, they have got new people to come in. With the formation of the NPP and new thinking and new people to come in. Other than that, you can't see very much new people going to the other main political parties, because they are horrified to see how they are behaving. I mean, you will say, if you want to tomorrow, if you want to do politics, you want to contest for a party, would you ever join these main political parties? With all these guys who have been, who has track record of robbing the people, track record, how would you join? No. So then what is the option? What is the option for good people to come in?
But Maithri, the clarion call of the Aragalaya and ever since then has been for fresh blood.
Definitely.
Youngsters, people who are in their 20s, 30s, 40s, rather than these people in their 70s, 80s and even 90s. So again, by recycling the same old people, isn't it completely self-defeatist? Shouldn't these parties, which have been in existence for some time, I mean, you take parties like the UNP and the SLFP, they've been there much before you and I were born.
Yes.
So shouldn't they have that experience and understand what's going on in the political scenario in Sri Lanka?
No, they don't understand that, Nilesh. Because if you take the SLFP, if you take the UNP, if you take the port tour, it is from their culture is from father to son to grandson, or son-in-law. So if you take most of the districts, it now you, for instance, you take the port tour, Mr. Mahinda Rajapaksa, his brothers, now his son. This is the culture. So until you change that, until someone comes to change that, well, then this is not going to take place. And the leaders of these parties also must realize it. They must get it in new blood, which they are not doing. So this is the biggest problem the general public have, and people who want to contribute to this country are unable to come. And when you hear budgets of 9 billion, 10 billion for an election campaign, Nilesh, I mean, who wants to even, I mean, can we ever think of anything like that? Why do you need so much of money? Why do you need so much of money? Because this is just to somehow buy the votes and come to power.
Interesting thoughts indeed. We are in conversation with Maithri Gunaratne, President's Counsel and former Governor. We will cross over to a short commercial break right now, and we'll be right back. Don't go away.
Voice Teens ගායන ශිල්පිනී නදුනි යමීෂාගේ නවතම ගීතය Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube ඇතුළු ඔබගේ ප්‍රියතම සංගීත සේවාවන් හරහා රස විඳින්න.
Entertainments. 10 teams, 23 matches. ICC Women's T20 World Cup Bangladesh 2024 coming soon.
Snowy car, ST Space number 4 and send it to 7788. Quarter final live rounds August 10 at 8:30 p.m. Tune in to Shakti TV.
Voice Teens ගායන ශිල්පිනී නදුනි යමීෂාගේ නවතම ගීතය Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube ඇතුළු ඔබගේ ප්‍රියතම සංගීත සේවාවන් හරහා රස විඳින්න.
Entertainments.
Welcome back to Face to Face. We are in conversation with President's Counsel Maithri Gunaratne, former Governor, on the subject of jumping or crossovers from one party to another. Maithri, you yourself are now part of the coalition for like-minded individuals, which has been fairly low-key during this campaign. You have not endorsed any candidate up to now.
That's right.
And do you intend doing so?
Well, we have hardly any choices. So we are wondering, I mean, we are actually, we are also in a bit of a confused state as to how we should go ahead. And the like-minded consortium, we were under the expectation that there may have been a parliamentary election, and then we would have been able to galvanize some people to contest in the districts. But with this present day, crossing overs and the political gymnastics which are taking place, my party is also applying tremendous pressure as to asking us what we are going to do. So we cannot take a decision right now without seeing this whole thing unfolding. In the next few days, you will see more and more crossovers and things like that. So we are keeping our options open, Naresh, but I can't see myself or ourselves supporting this kind of, if you take the three main parties, this kind of behavior, because I feel that they have absolutely no respect for the voter, and absolutely there is no genuineness in their cry to eradicate poverty, eradicate corruption, bring in justice, rule of law, sovereignty of the people. I of course have my serious doubts whether they will ever endeavor to do that, Nilesh.
Well, the whole clarion call of the people for the last 2.5 years was for more honesty and integrity and transparency, and anti-corruption became a buzzword, not just among the people but the politicians as well. It was all of them were pledging to wipe out corruption, but there's not been any wiping out of anything as far as we can see.
No, there is nothing. There is nothing. So what I'm saying is again and again, Nilesh, that it is very difficult for good people to come and make an entry into the system unless and until the voter is very mindful of what is and how he is going to vote, because there has to be out of the box thinking of the voter. If they are still going to think on the lines of Mr. Anil Wickramasinghe, Mr. Sajith Premadasa, Andra Kumara Disanayaka, if they are going to still think on those lines, then there isn't going to be much change.
But is this also shutting out the professionals? And there was quite a bit of pressure for professionals to come forward and not just serve in advisory capacities, but to actually try to run and get themselves elected. But is this whole scenario just business as usual and professionals will shy away from politics altogether?
Well, the manner in which it's proceeding, which right-thinking person is going to join these people? And the professionals in this country, Nilesh, they don't have all the money to throw. Right now, I myself am a professional, but I mean, when you look at these figures which these people are talking about and how they are going to conduct their campaigns, I mean, it's extremely difficult to even face it. I mean, that is one reason. Although I mean, we are having a political party, we have been having discussions with many people, we are unable to bring in even a candidate, is because of the cost factor. It's because of the cost factor. Now, what we made one request from the Elections Commission as a political party. You know that the ballot card, your polling card.
That's right.
Polling card is delivered to each and every house. Each and every voter is the polling card is delivered. So, what our request was from the Elections Commission, each political party or each candidate will say one A4 paper to be given to the elections office or that particular post office, for it to be annexed to the card and that document to be delivered to the voter. Then the voter will read all these documents and take a decision as to whom he should vote for. But now instead of doing that, they allow big parties who have helped businessmen to spend billions and billions of rupees for the election, and then where is the fair play for the other political parties?
Well, actually, as far as I know, only one candidate has so far even brought out a manifesto. So it seems to be a campaign of who's who and who's where, rather than one of substance and what are they going to do if they come to office, isn't it?
Correct.
So is this good for democracy?
This is the most dangerous thing for democracy and the sovereignty of the people. Because ultimately, Niresh, all political parties, all systems have to be in a better future for the people. But we, as in Sri Lanka, we are going backwards. So my humble appeal is to the voter. You must be more vigilant. You have to be more vigilant. You have to see which party, I mean, how are these people getting this money? I mean, now most of these parties, they are having, we'll say, professional get-togethers. All are in 5-star hotels. 500 people, 600 people. One meeting is costing 7-8 million rupees. Where is the questioning? Where is the election? What is the Elections Commission doing? Technically, Niresh, if now for instance, if the a political party will have a get-together of professionals, 500 professionals at a 5-star hotel, and today a 5-star hotel per head is a minimum of 10,000 rupees. So 500 people is 5 million rupees. Where did they get the money from? Isn't that a matter which should be questioned? Where they should question the political party? Where are you getting this money from? Coming. Now that is not happening. That is why I am saying, if the Elections Commission does not play their role, then they are abdicating their right, because they are not holding a free and fair election.
But is the Elections Commission empowered to do so?
They are.
But they have never done so.
They have never done so.
Any election.
No. Now, for instance, Niresh, the Elections Commission, if they want, and I have told them on several occasions, now these TV stations, if they find that the TV stations are going overboard, now the TV license, you need to get the license every year. So if the TV stations that do not adhere to the rules and regulations and the guidelines of the Elections Commission, they can write to the TRC or the licensing authority and say, station X has completely breached election laws and rules and regulations. Therefore, for the year 2025, we are objecting to the license being issued. Now, if that kind of independent stand is taken, then all people will have to adhere to the rules and play by the rules. But all this is done selectively. All this is done selectively, and that's the reason where there is we fear that there won't be a free and fair election.
Now, Maithri, 2024 is a landmark year for democracy around the world. There are some 65 countries which are having elections. Many of them have already had elections. You've had India and the UK, China, Russia, so many countries have had elections, but we never saw anything like this mass defections, crossing over from here to there. We didn't see it. I mean, we saw the Indian election just a couple of months ago. We never heard of this kind of thing happening.
We are a land like no other. Truly a land like no other.
Well, we seem to be a land like no other for all the wrong reasons. Interestingly enough, yes, we are laughing, but of course,
no, it's not a laughing matter. It's not a laughing matter.
Absolutely. So, Maithri, let's get to the number of candidates. Now, we have about a week to go.
Yeah. There are 18 already, if I'm not right.
Yes, and now last time for the presidential election, we had 35 candidates.
Okay.
What's your wager on this? Are we going to break that? Are we going to have more than 35?
I think we will stop at about 23, 24.
Okay.
23, 24.
Now let me ask you about the minor candidates. There are, of course, you've got your major parties, and you've got your traditional parties, which even though they are weakened, they feel they need to put up a candidate. Then you do have various other say socialist alliances and so on, which will also because of their dogma, their philosophies, they will put up a candidate. But then you also get some individuals who come forward, or small groups which put forward a candidate, although there's really no hope of winning.
No, Niresh, what happens is political parties can bring forward candidates. Members of parliament can contest an election, but independent groups, individuals cannot come in. You have to have a political party, where be a member of a political party can submit their candidate, or member of parliament who has been in parliament can come as a candidate for a presidential election. So there are no groups, but there are about 60-70 political parties. So
you can always find one to
well, you can find one.
Candidacy.
There are people who are paying money to contest. Some people are paying money to contest. Now I got a request saying that there is one person who wants to become famous, so therefore he wants to contest for this presidential election. So it works in very funny ways, Nilesh.
Yes, indeed. Because when you look at some of the candidates who have already given their bonds for candidacy, one is left scratching one's head as to why that person came forward at all.
Precisely.
Yeah. Maithri, at this point, and we are still around 50 days to go for the election, what's the scenario? Who's becoming popular? Who's not coming up to the mark?
Well, Neeraj, it's like this. My numbers may be slightly plus or minus 5% here and there. As it is, they say that the JVP is at about 28 to 30%. Then the SJB is also 30 to 32%. And the president's team is at about 18 to 20%. So these are the scenarios. And when you take these percentages, so there is another about 30 to 35% who are not decided where they are going to vote. So then Nilesh, now this is a numbers game basically. So the way I see it, if we'll say the president and the SJB can get together, then there will be a clean sweep, because SJB is having, we'll say 30%, president is having 20% or 18%, that brings them to about 48%. So it's a clean because the issue is there isn't much of a difference between the policies of the SJB, there isn't much of the difference between the policies of the UNP.
But there's a huge personality clash there.
That is the issue. Is it personalities which matter in this game, or is it the country that which matters in this game? Is it a stable government which matters in this game? So what I'm saying is, leaders also must compromise, because we are not in a era where you can have high egos and demand when the people are suffering in this country. So everyone must compromise. And if everyone compromises, then I think we will have a better day. Now, for instance, Nilesh, now if none of these guys get the 50%, then we are going from one crisis to another. So who is ultimately going to pay for this? Election itself, 10 billion to conduct the election. And because of their high egos, because of their small political differences. Now, I can understand a case where we'll say the JVP and the UNP not getting together it's understandable, because the policies may differ greatly. But we'll say the SJB and the UNP. SJB is a breakaway of the UNP, and already they are flirting with each other, most of these members. so therefore, I mean, it is the egos of the leaders which are preventing getting together, so that that will bring some kind of stability to this country. It will bring definite stability to the country. Of course, I must say that SLFP is in tatters. Then the SLPP, that is the Rajapaksa's party, all of them have completely defected the Rajapaksas now. So those are now basically they can be put to the back burner. They may take a little time to revive and come up. But the main guys at this election is the UNP or the president, who is the leader of the UNP, the SJB. Both of them have close to about 50%, and then the JVP or the NPP, which they say 32%. So the battle lines are perfectly drawn. But if the egos continue, then the SJB and the JVP, if they are going to be divided at this election, then there is a possibility of the JVP peeping them on the post, touching down on the blind side.
So there's a lot of flirting with each other going on, but no commitment.
No commitment. So what I'm saying is, if the policies are the same, now I'm also originally we are from the UNP, but due to various issues in the UNP and various bad management of the party, we are out. But our policies, our thinking, everything is green thinking. So why can't these green thinking people get together and put this country right? They have the ability to do it, and if they get together, then they can get rid of all this all the unwanted people into this in this game. They can get rid of them and bring some clean guys and take this country forward. But it is for selfish interest that they are not doing it.
Now, looking at your numbers, and a lot of people have similar numbers, Maithri, it seems that there's still a fair number of voters who are undecided.
Definitely.
20 to 30%.
Definitely. Maybe more, Niresh.
And that's it's very strange. It's quite remarkable at this late stage in a political campaign. After all, voters have had 2.5 years to decide.
Definitely.
Do you see this? Is this good? Is this bad? Is it signs of complete weakness on the part of so many political parties?
No, it's absolute weakness, and they have absolutely no regard to the sentiments of the voter and the need of the country. This is the unfortunate situation.
Now, Maithri, let's take a look at this second round of voting, because this is something that has never come into play before, and most voters don't even know that there is such a thing as a second round, because for a presidential election they go saying, okay, I'm going to vote for candidate A or candidate B, and that's it. But there is a second preference there, and most people don't exercise that, or they will vote for the same person first, second and third, which is of course self-defeating, because that will not be counted.
No, it's a spoiled vote.
Yeah, it's a spoiled vote. So how does this work? If no candidate has 50% plus one, then how does it work? Could you guide us through it?
Yeah, then what happens is, I will say, if candidate A does not have, he has got the highest votes, but he doesn't have 50 plus 1, then what they will do is they will go to candidate B and see the votes he has got and how many the second preferences, how many there are, to calculate that, so that can be taken. And if we'll say if that second preference is for candidate A, then they will calculate all those votes to see whether the candidate A can get this 50 plus 1. But now that's another issue in that will be another issue in this election, where we will have to have a second choice, but then it's Hobson's choice. How do you put 3-4 fellows and you tell worst guys and you tell choose the best? It's almost impossible.
Hobson's choice indeed. And I'm afraid on that note we are out of time. My thanks to Mr. Maithri Gunaratne, President's Counsel,
Thank you very much.
For joining us and sharing his insights into this remarkable circus or merry-go-round of politicians that is going on right now in Sri Lanka. Don't go away. The news is coming up next, and to all of you at home, have a good evening.